Tonight, the request was to combine two different lectures into one. So the first half of this evening will be scientific proof, Torah and science, and the second part will be focusing on Shabbat, Shabbos, Sabbath. What's going to be? What is it really Shabbat? I prefer always to answer specific questions. If people have questions or arguments to make or doubts, it's always better for me to address the questions. So please don't hesitate. If you have any specific questions that you would like to ask, now it's the opportunity. Now, before I start the lecture, I would like to ask an important question. Anybody in this room, anybody here, you can sit on the other side, that's okay, it's no problem. Anybody in this room have doubts that the Torah, the Jewish Torah, what the Goyim call the Old Testament, is the Word of God? Does anybody here, for instance, that think that maybe the rabbis wrote it, or it's a history book, or it's an unknown source, or any other theory? Please don't hesitate. Anyone? Anybody here has doubts? Everyone is 100% sure. Where is Mitch? So I asked if anyone has doubts if the Torah is the Word of God. Everyone is 100% sure. You sure you need a lecture here? Maybe there should be.
Everyone thinks the rabbis wrote it, no?
That's what I ask. Nobody thinks like that. No, but let's be serious. Anyone has doubts, even a slight of a doubt? Who can swear 100% on his life and death, that there's not even one letter in a Torah that was made, was written by people? Swear on his life 100%.
Not 100%.
Not,
99%, not 100%.
99. All right, that's already a progress to the opposite direction. But fine, I mean, I need some challenge here. So wait, again, I'll ask it again. Maybe people hesitate. You know how it is. Once the first one say, the second, then everybody raise their hand. Yes?
I have a question. Doesn't the Torah refer to God, call God with many different names throughout it? Why is
Right, God called himself in many different names.
So why isn't it consistent throughout? Why isn't one name consistent
Every name symbolizes something else. Every name has a meaning. There's sometimes when God appears in a specific name, that's the God of mercy. Sometimes it's the judgment, and many other different phrases for what he presents at that point. For instance, there's some conversation in the Torah, then when God speaks, you can see right away it's the midat adin, the judgment, strict. And sometimes it's mixed with mercy. And in order for us to know, we have to always look in the oral Torah, because without the oral Torah, there's nothing that you can understand from the written Torah anyway. But we get to that. That's a little bit later. I just want to get the feeling where we're standing right here. Why? Because I always have a contradiction in my mind. If I come to a place and I ask the people if they know 100% the Torah is the Word of God, then if nobody has a doubt, then I ask myself, what's going on here? Why am I asking myself that? Because I know there are many things that are written in the Torah, and we're not exactly strict about it. We don't listen to it, we ignore it, we violate some of the rules. You may ask me, how do you know? You don't know us, you see us for the first time. How do you know we violate some of the rules of the Torah? So I will not lie, and I'll tell you, by looking at the person, even if you saw him for the first time, you can see right away more or less. Of course, there's always surprises, but in average, you can see the spiritual level of the person by the way he dressed, by the way he talked, by the way he speak. You can learn a lot about a person. It's life experience. If you deal with people 14 years like I did, and you meet so many thousands of different kind of people, you know you can categorize them into, I don't know, 6, 7 different categories, and you see more or less the level of the person in his spirituality. By the way a person walks, you can learn a lot about him. By sign language, the way the person sits, the way he moves his face. Everything has a meaning, but that's not the topic here tonight. So when I see, for instance, the way people dress, or the way they, or even by girls, the way they put their makeup on, or the way their hair is, it present, or jewelry and all these things, it present a lot about the spiritual level of the person. By guys, it's a little bit harder to tell, but it's also, there's a definite way to know more or less in what level they are. So excuse me, but by being here, I didn't see, I'm not convinced that all the people here are sure 100% that the Torah is the Word of God. So then I have a contradiction. Either I'm wrong after so many years, and you are right, or you're just not telling me 100% the truth. So I'm going to ask again, don't hesitate. Anybody here has any doubt that the Torah is the Word of God? If no, if only one person has 1% doubt, then my next question to you is, who read the Torah from the beginning to the end carefully at least once in his life? That he knows, he understands the simple understanding of the Torah from A to Z. Please raise his hand. Every word in the Torah, from the beginning to the end, understanding every word of the Torah. Who read the Torah carefully from the beginning to the end? 100%? You did not miss any sentence, any chapter, nothing?
I don't think so.
How exactly you did it? You learn it daily, in yeshiva, personally?
You do Sedra of the week, you read it twice.
Yes.
And then in school I read it, I mean I didn't read it in order, but when you do Shnei Mikra,
Right.
I've been doing that for about 3-4 years.
With Rashi?
Yeah, or with Uncle Liz, yeah.
With Rashi,
Yeah.
in English.
Not every single Rashi, but majority of them.
So if let's put it that way. If I take you to a personal test one-on-one, and I'll give you, let's say, an hour to read the parasha without Rashi, just to read it, you'll be able to explain me everything by reading it in Hebrew. What does it mean? What God meant? What's the law here? What's the...
I don't have the Rashis memorized, but I have the psukim.
Without Rashi, oh
Yeah, I can translate.
What I'm trying to say is like this. Look, for me, someone like me, right? I read it many times with Rashi. So 90% of it, when I read now, I don't need to see Rashi. I already know what it means. Once it's in your conscious, in your subconscious, you just remember as you're reading it. So you understand what the Torah really refers to. What's the law, what's the oral law, what's the secretly, what's the Gemara says about it. The more you learn, the more you know. So now my problems with this crowd is like this. If everyone here don't have any doubt that this is the book of the Creator of the world, how in the world is possible that none of the people here except one individual, and it's interesting, the one that had a doubt is the only one who read the Torah. All the other people that did not have any doubt, none of them read the Torah even once in their life. Can someone please explain me this contradiction? I'm sure people here read newspapers daily, and all kinds of romance, and all kinds of scientific book, and all different kinds of books and newspapers and many, many other books that you read daily. Is it possible to understand that we have a book in our hand from the Creator of the world, our Creator? Everything we did and do and will do depend on His approval. Our future, our children, our family, our marriage, our wealth, everything depends on His approval and His decision. And we never bother to read once what's the purpose of our life, why did He put us here, what are we doing here? How is it possible? Anybody can give me a convincing answer? What do you say, Mitch? It looks normal to you, or maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. It looks normal to you that a person gets a book in his hand and he knows 100% it's the Word of God, and he put it on the shelf for 20 years and never read it once in his life. It looks normal to you? What do you say?
Yeah.
Looks normal?
They believe that it's from God, they just don't care to do anything about it.
But out of curiosity, you have to agree with me that, for instance, let's say someone here never bothered about religion. He wasn't interested. Just for the argument's sake, if Moshe Rabbeinu would come now through the door and say, God gave me permission to come here for 1 more hour. Here is the original book, he brings it, that God gave me in Mount Sinai, and he puts it in your hand. You're not interested in religion, fine. Out of curiosity, you wouldn't spend a day or two to read what's really in this book? So interested or not, I have a book of the creator of the world in my house. How can it be that I'm not going to read once how the world was created? What's the purpose of the creation? Why he created people? Why later on he separated the people to different families and different religions? What's the reward and punishment that is throughout the entire Torah? If you do this, I'll reward you. If you don't do it, I'll punish you. I reward, I will punish. I'll reward. Throughout the entire Torah, what's all that? What's life after life? The Torah speaks in many places about resurrection of the dead. Or what happened to the soul after it leaves the body. The Torah also said that this is only a temporary visit. The soul visit in this world 60, 70, 80 years has a purpose. It may fulfill the purpose or it may fail in the purpose, and actually sometimes will be reincarnated or sometimes will not get another chance to come here. All kinds of things are very important to understand. So I think that since everybody here convinced 100% that the Torah is the Word of God, my next question will be, that's about the written Torah. What about the oral Torah? You also feel about the oral Torah that it's 100% the Word of God, or over here you already have doubts? You know the difference between the written and the oral Torah? I'll explain in 2 minutes. The written Torah has a sentence in it. This is the Torahs, plural, and the laws and the board of stones that I put in the hand of Moshe in Mount Sinai. So by the way, the written Torah admits, testifies, whichever way you want to present it, that there is more than one Torah. Torahs. We all know that there is the written Torah and the oral Torah. What's the difference? Very simple. The written Torah, it's only headlines. Besides the historical story that it tells us about 1,000 years of history, or it describes the creation of the world and the descendants and how we became a nation and what Israel means, all these things that we learn from the Torah mainly speak about 613 commandments that we received in Mount Sinai 3,319 years ago. The reason we have 613 commandments, we know the 10, which is very famous, but we really have 613. And the reason is because the person is created with 613 organs, 248 organs, and 365 ligaments. For every organ in a body, there is a positive commandment. For every ligament in a body, there is a restriction. So we have 365 restrictions in the book of God, in which each one relates to one ligament in the body. And we have 248 positive mitzvot, you should do, you should do, you should do. Each one of those connects to an organ in the body. And according to Kabbalah, once a person dies, the soul comes out of the body. And I have a whole lecture about it. It's more than 3 hours lecture, life after life. And according to science, and of course according to Judaism, what happened to the soul after the person died? What's the steps that a person go through after the body falls on the floor? What happened to the real person, which is the spiritual divine soul? What happened to it from the moment a person died? According to Kabbalah, it says that once the soul of a person comes to the Beit Din Shel Mala, to the court of heaven, court. First, I want you to know that the court up there, it's exactly like the court right here. You have a prosecutor, you have the defense, and you have the judge, and you have everything exactly like here. And the reason God made it here like this, for the people to understand, to have in their conscience what happened after we're going to leave this world. For good or for bad, depend who you are. So, how long it takes for a person to be judged? 1 year. 1 year trial. And that's the reason why when a Jew died, his kids say Kaddish for 1 year. Where does it come, this custom? Because the father or the mother or the brother, whoever just passed away, he needs our help. What's the help? Once you praise the name of God, Kaddish is the highest prayer in Judaism, Kaddish. And that's so there's many different Kaddishim. One of them, it's an orphan Kaddish. When in the first year after the parents die, one of them, so they come to the synagogue and they read Kaddish every day after the davening, in the davening, while they're learning Torah, and that brings a lot of mercy on that person. How long does it take? 1 year. That's why the period of the Kaddish is for 1 year. That's why the kids of the deceased person cannot go to weddings, cannot listen to music. They have all kinds of restrictions. And the first 7 days, which is the most severe days, that's when the people sit Shiva. Those days are very special for the soul, because this is the days that the soul is half here, half there. It's not 100% left yet. Then the soul leaves this world completely, and the story then after begins right there. Now, the reason I'm telling you all this, because according to Kabbalah, once the person arrives there, before the trial even begins, just by looking at the image, the spiritual image of the soul of the person, it looks exactly like you look here. If you look 6 feet tall, and you have black hair, and you chubby, or whatever you are, you look exactly like this with your soul. The only difference is that now, when we try to grab you, we feel something and we hear something, because it's material. Once the soul comes out of the body, the physical part eventually goes to the grave and disappeared over the years, and the image, the original image, the spiritual image, stays the same. Now I want you to understand, if a person lost his hand in an accident, like cut his hand off or whatever happened, the soul still looks full, but there's no cover. And one part of the soul, there's no cover. The entire soul is covered from A to Z. The inside soul and the body looks exactly the same. The only difference is that if a person lost a part of his body, the soul still looks full. That's why some people that lost parts of their body, sometimes they report to the doctors that it's itching over here. But they don't understand why. They feel like they want to itch here, but they don't really have a hand. It's interesting. So according to Kabbalah, once the soul comes up to the court of heaven, just by looking at the spiritual image of the person, you know which commandments he fulfilled and which one he failed, by looking at his spiritual image. And that's very interesting. Also, when the soul comes over there, the soul receives a different cover. It's called Chaluka de Rabbanan. It's like a special spiritual kilt that the soul gets over there, and that's different than the physical body. Now you have to know one more thing. In this world, everything we do relates to time. It's all time. 1 hour, 2 hours. It takes an hour to read this book. It takes 5 hours to read that book. It takes me an hour to pray. It takes me 12 hours to finish what I have to do at work. Everything relates to time. Shabbat, it's time. Tefillin, it's time. Shema Israel, it's time. Sunset, sunrise. Every mitzvah in Judaism connects to time. Every step you make connects to time. Time exists only where material exists. When there's no material, there's no time. Only when there is material, in places that you have material, you feel the time. Once the soul leaves this world, the time over there and here, it's not the same. Now you have to remember that over here, if a person goes through surgery, and it takes 3 hours, surgery or dentist, let's say, 1 hour root canal, 1 hour of pain and suffering, and it's exactly an hour. So it's 60 minutes of suffering. Over there, in order for the soul to feel 60 minutes of suffering, you don't really need an hour. It's in a blink of the eye. I'll explain what I mean. People ask, the rabbis always teach, and the Torah teach, that after the people leave this world, they have reward and punishment. And based on the way they lived in this world. But how is it possible to punish the soul? If the soul, it's a spiritual energy, how do you punish it exactly? I understand, the body you can take, you can pinch the body, you can burn it, you feel the pain. That's a punishment. But the soul, what exactly are you going to do to it? So I'll give you an example. When a person goes to sleep, the scientists measure the waves in the brain, the heartbeat, the breath, while the person has an exciting dream or a scary dream. Person went to bed midnight, exactly midnight. 12:05, 5 minutes. He just fell asleep. He began to snore. 5 minutes later, he screams. His wife waking him up. What happened, Moshe? Don't ask. I just had such a terrible dream. What happened? Tell me. He begins to tell her a story that perhaps took 6 months. I went there, the plane crashed. I was in the island until they came to take me. 3 days I didn't eat. Finally, the Russians came. They picked me up. They took me to Russia. They put me in jail. There was no food. I couldn't find kosher food. There was an anti-Semite soldiers over there beating me up. I scream, I want a lawyer. Nobody. Story 6 months. Conversation. They investigate me. They thought I'm a spy. His wife says, wait a minute, Moshe, what's going on here? You only slept for 5 minutes. You're telling me a story of 6 months. Well, in 5 minutes you had so many conversations with this guy. That's explain everything. What do you see? A dream is to the soul, not to the body. The body is right here, the soul is somewhere. The soul had an experience of 6 months, real. It's exact, like 6 months here. He went through it. He doesn't need the body to pass the person through a certain experience, for good or for bad. What is it like? Like a simulator. The jet pilots, when they learn how to fly, they don't really go on a plane in the first year. They put them in a special room, and they feel exactly like they're flying. They sweat, they throw up. Ever they sit on a chair, they don't move. It's all in the brain. They feel like they crash, they feel the missiles, they scream. You see, I was in the Air Force, so I saw how they come out. They come out, they're almost fainting. Wow, give me 5 minutes, I need to catch my breath. Why? I just felt that there were 45 minutes in the air with tons of pressure and G-force and all that. It's exactly like real, even though there's no plane. I'll give you another example. A person goes, in Israel they have a place, it's called the Luna Park. They have a special round wall, like this wall, round, but real round, like 180 degrees. And it's like a roller coaster over there. 3 dimension, but a real killing roller coaster. Not like here. You feel like you go about 100 flies up, and then all of a sudden you see you falling down in less than a second, like from the Empire State Building, and you're about to crash, and everybody screams, and they have signs, warning, you cannot go in if you have heart problems. So I once went there, I couldn't look at the screen, I closed my eyes. So I went like this. I saw all the people, how they all go like this, and they scream, and they go like this, and they move, and they do all kinds of things, and it's actual real. One more thing. We have conscious and subconscious. Who knows the difference? You hear it all the time. In Hebrew, it's muda and tat muda. In English, it's conscious and subconscious. Who knows the difference between conscious and subconscious? You never learn it in school? No? What do you say?
I may be wrong, so I'm not going to say.
You may be wrong. It's not the end of the world. Memory?
No,
Conscious is what you think. Subconscious is what you think, but you don't realize that you're thinking it, so it's in the back of your mind.
It needs a little bit correction. You're on the right direction.
Subconscious is like, your heart is beating, but you're not actually making it beat.
Your subconscious is what you dream about. Because
it's things you do, but you don't have control over it. Things that happen to you.
No. They're not doing so well, the ladies here. Well, what about the men? Huh? Okay, yeah.
Conscious is like something that's readily available to you.
Is?
Something that you, like, it's readily available. You can, access it at any time. Subconscious, you can't. Something like deep down, you can't necessarily get to it.
You're close to the answer. The answer is, I hope she's not running away because I said the girl is not doing so well. All right, so let me explain how it works. When God created us, He made us a brain. A brain has 10 trillion connections inside. More than all the telecommunication companies in the world together, multiplied by 100, it's just your brain. It's more sophisticated than the entire communication system in the entire world. That's a brain of one person. In that brain, it's 80% liquid. That's the brain, the size of an apple. And the veins inside, the wires, are very, very thin. It's like one hair divided by 1,000. That's how thick they are. They're very thin. And that's inside that brain, that's where the soul is. the soul, the real you. When you tell your wife, I love you, I miss you, I'm upset, I'm depressed, I'm happy, all these words has nothing to do with the body. The body is just a bunch of molecules. The body doesn't feel anything. It's just a cover, an envelope. What really feels, it's the soul. Where is that soul? When a person dies, you open up his body, you open the head, the brain, you're looking for the soul, you cannot find it. The soul, it's an energy, it's a special divine energy that is entering the body and exit the body. Once it's in the body, it's in the brain, inside the head. Now, in the mind of a person, there are two sections. It's the conscious, it's things that he uses daily, frequently, every minute, every second, every hour. He deals with this all the time. And there is a storage. In the back of his mind, there's something that calls storage. What's the difference between the storage and the actual thinking of every moment? It's very simple. I'll give you an example you understand. If you walk on the street now for an hour, and you look in the ground while you're walking, you're thinking about all kinds of things, you see millions of stones, nails, glasses, sand, grass, many things you see. You don't pay attention to it. Because your brain is educated not to waste time on things that are not so relevant to your life. So you don't care. But the brain records everything your eyes see from the moment you're born, every second of your life, everything you ever saw, everything you ever looked at, automatically registered in the storage of your brain. Now, when you come home, your wife will ask you, tell me, can you tell me all the things you saw while you walked from your friend's house to the house? So I walked for an hour. You think I remember everything I saw on the ground? She said, you cannot tell me? You say, no. But I saw you looking all over the floor. Yeah, I was thinking about different things. I don't care about the floor. Then 5 minutes later, she said, well, you know, I really want to hang this picture. Do you have, I looked for nails all over and I don't have. Do you have any nails somewhere? So, oh, yeah. 5 minutes ago, I saw outside a screw on the floor. Let me go look for it. It's all right here, downstairs. 2 minutes ago, she asked him, can you tell me what you saw on the ground? He couldn't tell her anything. Why? It's not useful for him. That's why in his conscious, he did not record it. It went directly to the storage. Then when he's going to need it, the way God made us is the storage will pull it out special for you. It's like an arm going over there. You need a nail. You just saw a nail. It's recorded. It comes into your conscious. So there are things who go from your conscious into your subconscious back and forth throughout your life. But it's not only in this lifetime. It's all the reincarnations that you ever lived here are recorded in that soul, what we call the divine soul. Now remember, the soul and the brain is really the same thing. Because without the soul, the brain cannot do anything. How do you know? People that die, the brain don't have any waves, and sometimes 20 minutes later they come back to life, and they begin to tell you what the soul saw, even though he was completely dead. No oxygen, no brain waves, no nothing. And then he comes back to life, and the brain started to think again. And he remembered things. Where was the brain? 20 minutes was completely dead. But the person knows everything. The good part is that when they hypnotize a person, it's called regression. Goyim, parapsychologists, non-Jews, nothing to do with Judaism necessarily. Of course, everything is in the Torah. They speak into your soul. They speak into your subconscious. And they say, where are you? It's 1991. August 12, 2 o'clock. Tell me what you're doing. They first put you half asleep. You look at a specific dot on the wall. For 15 minutes you stare at that, and then you begin to fall asleep. But you're not really asleep. You're half and half. And then the parapsychologists begin to speak to your conscious, to your subconscious. Tell me where you are. 1991, August 12, 2 o'clock. I'm walking in the street in Manhattan. It's so noisy and humid here. I'm suffering. I'm sweating. He begins to describe life, where he is. Then he said, let's go to 1970, July 1st, 8 o'clock in the morning. Where are you? He said, I'm waiting on the line to the bus now. There's a bus coming any minute. He's describing it alive. The shock begins when they tell him, when they go back to the first year of his life, when he was 1 year old. A baby, 1 year old, when you speak to him now, can he speak? He cannot speak, right? He cannot have conversations. So when you tell him, let's go to 1960, where are you now? He's only 1 year old. What happened to this person? He's 60 now. He falls on the floor. In the middle of the session, they film it. And he begins to crawl on the rug and make noises from his mouth like a real baby. And you see, 60 years old person, a man or a woman, you film them, and you see how they cry and they want the pacifier or a bottle, much live like they are babies. And the best part is that now if you go another 10 years reverse, it's called regression. You go back in history. All of a sudden, he gets back on the chair and he begins to speak in a foreign language. So just imagine, if you went to a session like this and he hypnotized you and he sent you back in time, then they film you and they go back to 1950. You're only 25 years old. What 1950? You begin to speak Arabic. Where are you? I'm in Baghdad, in Iraq. Well, I have a vegetable store. I'm selling vegetables. Yeah, business is not so good, Rabbi. You begin to cry. Why? It's life, 1950. I want to get out of here. I want to move to a different country. He speaks in a different language. Now, when they bring you back to conscious, they show you yourself speaking Arabic. And you say, I don't understand what I'm saying. Where is this Arabic came from? In this life, you don't know Arabic. You don't know Russian. You don't know German. You speak in different languages. What do you learn from this? That's your previous life. You understand? Now the point is like this. There are many, many things in our life that we are not aware of. Because we are not educated, because we do not learn what happened to us, we're going to pay a very serious price for it. Why? And I explain what I mean. Many people think, what's the problem? When I leave this world, let's assume you're right. There is going to be a trial. God is going to ask me about everything I did. I stole, I spoke gossip, I ruined people's life, I made my friends get divorced, I made problems to my parents, I wasn't nice to my wife, all these crimes that I did. Fine. So what's the problem? All right, so I'm going to tell God, listen, what do you want from me? I wasn't a rabbi. My parents never sent me to yeshiva. I went to learn with Bruce Lee and Chris and Mr. Williams together in the same class. And I became like them. What do you want? I grew up with them. I didn't grow up in Bnei Brak or Yerushalayim. What do you want to judge me for? I didn't keep Shabbat? What do you want from me? I'm not religious. I didn't know. I never went to learn Torah once in my life. You think it's going to help him or not? Be fair. What do you think?
Yes.
Explain why.
He's being honest. He's being truthful to what he is.
You really think he's honest?
He's being truthful to what he is. He's not making excuses for his life.
Why not? I think it's a big excuse. And I'll prove it to you from what you said 20 minutes ago. Everybody here, with no exception, said that they know 100% that this is the book of God. What's going to be, you think, the first question when God is going to ask us when we leave this world? You knew for 70, 80 years that you have my book on the shelf. You read all the nonsense in the world, all the gossip, all the bad things, all the television show, all these funny things, all these shows, everything you never missed. You never read my book once to know what's the purpose of your creation? I fed you for 75 years. I gave you money, oxygen, clothes to wear, place to live, cars to drive. Did you ever do one thing for me? There's a list of requests that I ask you. I'm giving you. You have a mission here. You have to also give. Did you ever give? Hashem, I didn't know that I have to give. I didn't know. The answer will be, you had 75 years to learn what you have to do. Make sense what I say or not? If you're not convinced that what I say is correct, it's written in the Torah. The Torah says, Shigegat Talmud Olaz Adon. Someone who thinks to say to God, I was ignorant in Judaism, I didn't know anything, therefore I'm not liable to what I did, for sure not going to help him, because the obligation is to go and learn, search for the truth. Why Avraham Avinu became such a great hero in history? What's so special about him? up to the time from Adam until Abraham, you know how many years there were? You know how many tens of millions of people were out there? No, none of them is mentioned. All of a sudden there's a person, Avraham Avinu, 3,500 years ago. It's about 2,400 years after the creation, approximately 2,300 years after the world was created. 2,300 years, millions of people out here, nobody is mentioned. Finally, there's one person, Avraham HaIvri. God is very excited about him. Abraham, my servant. Abraham, my lover, my son, who listens to me, who searches for the truth. I tested him so many times, he passed all the tests. For those who pray Shachrit, I saw some of you are more into prayer. What is the first thing we read in the morning? We read the story of Abraham is about to slaughter his son Yitzchak. How does it start? Who knows? And after this, after those things, what's the next thing? Ve'elokim. What's the rest of the sentence? We can read it 7 years and never pay attention to what we say every morning. And God, Ve'elokim nisait Avraham. God came to test Abraham. Started to play games with him, testing him. Just a while before, he told him, I want you to go and tell all these goyim not to throw their children into the fire and think that they satisfied God. That's not what God wants, that they have babies to kill them for him. No, I don't need them to show me that they're faithful by killing their children. Teach them that I'm not happy from what they do. Then he comes to him one day, say, I know you don't have children, you're older than 90 years old, but don't worry, you will have a son that will inherit you. And it's not this Ishmael. That's what God told him. Finally, he had a son, like God promised, and God comes to him against everything he told him. He told him, I will give you a son that will inherit you, and tell all the kids, I'm not interested that they'll kill their children for God. And God tells him, go kill your son for me. Even though he told him, I'm not happy that people will do it for me, he comes and tells him the opposite. And he promised him that this son will inherit him. And what does he tell him now? Your only son, go and kill him. If it would happen to us, what will we do? Say, God, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be rude, but I don't understand you. Where is the common sense here? You just told me, finally I'm going to have a son. Look at me, I'm 99 years old. Finally I had a kid. You want me now to go kill him? And the worst part is, it's Chilul Hashem. What's the Goyim going to say? All these years I preached to them, don't kill your children for God. He's not interested. And now I'm going to kill my son for you. What are they going to say? All these people I finally convinced. He did not say a word. He said, yes, sir. That's what you want? No problem. What's the next sentence? Vayashkem Avraham baboker. First thing in the morning. First of all, he went to sleep. You're going to kill your son tomorrow morning after 99 years you waited for him? The Torah says he went to sleep as usual. What's the next thing? First thing in the morning. He could have stretched the day until 7 in the evening. He didn't tell him what time. First thing in the morning, he goes to kill his son. First thing in the morning. What happened? He became a great hero. The Jewish nation came out of him. Who knows what does it mean, Avraham HaIvri? What does it mean, Avraham the Hebrew? What does it mean? It means one-sided. He was in one side of the world and everybody else lived in a lie. There was finally, after 2,400 years, one person out of millions that understood that we did not come to this world just to eat and sleep and to enjoy and run around. No. If that was the purpose of our creation, there's no need to make us human beings with intelligence and the power of speech and free choice. Make us like animals with instinct, enjoy food, enjoy relation, have kids, enjoy the sun, swim, run. The animals have great life sometimes. No problem. But he made us different than the animals, and therefore Abraham understood, I'm here for a reason. I want to show you some of the things in case you ever had a doubt, or you will have a doubt, that indicates without a doubt that this could be only the book that was written by the Creator of the world. The Torah says, You know, when you look at the sun today, the sun looks like a round ball of fire. By looking at the sun, do you see any cover to the sun? Any shell? Do you see any shell to the sun? You just see a round yellow ball. What do you see? By looking at the sun, like when you take an orange, right? You see the orange has a peel. It covers, it protects the actual fruit. By looking at the sun, you see the sun is protected by something, or it just look like a round ball of fire. 3,400 years ago, 3,300 years ago, anybody could write that the sun has a peel, the sun is covered. Did anybody could write such a thing? There was any way to look at the sun and see that the sun is protected with a special cover? The answer is yes. The Torah told us, and this is what David HaMelech wrote in Tehillim 3,000 years ago. It says like this: Lashem sam oil baem, in Tehillim Yutet 19. The sun has a cover, but in the future, Hashem will get the sun one day out of his cover. I want to give you a little bit example of how the sun is. Right here in the center of the sun, you have 15 million degrees Celsius. 15 million. Right here, this is the shell, right here. Inside, you have 2 million degrees. Outside, you have 6,000 degrees. By the time it travels all the way to Earth, let's say this is Earth, it becomes 30 degrees, 40 degrees. This is the temperature that we have here. The scientist, this is Dr. Vidal, a main astronomer in the Greenwich in England. He wrote a book, The Army of Heaven, and this is what he writes. Those layers, he's speaking about the shell, observe the radiation and the heat that comes from inside the sun. Those layers we call the cover. Area A, which is right here, it's the inside of the sun. If this radiation will get to Earth, it will be so strong that it will burn the entire world completely. Now, I don't know if you knew it or not, but the way the world and the sun is, this is the way it is. I'm going to show you in a second. Here, right there. This is how it is. This is the sun, this is the earth, and this is the moon goes around the earth. Now, every year, the earth finishes a complete cycle around the sun. And while it's turning around, it's also turning around its own center. So that means every 24 hours it finishes an entire circle, and every 365 days and a little bit, it finishes an entire circle around the entire sun. Now you have to know, if you would take Earth, which is right here, and move it towards the sun, by mistake, it moves, it's in the air. There's no foundation, there's no base. It's standing in the air, and it's traveling around the sun. If you move the Earth 1% towards the sun, or make it go 1% further from the sun, if it will go closer, we will burn in a second, and all the lakes in less than a minute will become empty, no water. If it will go 1% further, we will freeze in a second, and all the lakes and everything will become one piece of ice. But the earth is always keeping the right distance from the sun as it's turning around it, always, for thousands of years. Now, what person, what human being will be able to write 3,300 years in a book that, if remember, the rule in Judaism is like this: if we're going to find one mistake, that's the end of the Torah. No, we don't need two mistakes. One mistake shows that that's not a divine book. So if we're going to find one mistake, it will be all over. Now, if today the scientists will be able to prove that the sun has no shell, no cover, it's just a ball of fire, since it's very far away from Earth, it doesn't burn us. But the gas, it's around some kind of a center, and it just doesn't have any cover. That will be the end of the Torah. Because the Torah said that the sun has a cover. The question is, how would the Torah would be able to tell us such a thing 3,300 years ago, when there was not even a telescope, no satellites, no way to measure the sun or to calculate the distance between sun and earth. I'll give you another example. I'm skipping a lot, as you can see, because some of those things I already shown in the previous lecture recently here. I rather speak about things that I did not speak yet. I'll give you an example. Did you hear about the mitzvah of the red cow? Some of the laws in the Torah are making sense to human logic. A person with logic review the mitzvah, review the commandment, and it makes sense to him. For instance, you should not kill. Makes sense or not? Makes sense, right? You should not steal. Makes sense? Yeah. To clean the house from breadcrumbs for 7 days, make sure there's no breadcrumbs anywhere, on the shelves, in the closet, under the rug. Makes sense? Or it's a foolish law? To human logic, forget about the part that is in the Torah. If someone comes and gives you a book of law today, Constitution of United States was renewed today. Once a year you have to make sure you don't have breadcrumbs in the house. What would you say about the person who wrote the Constitution, the judge? It's a cycle. It's not normal. I'll give you another example. Did you know that if you go and see a bird in a nest and you send the mother away and you take the chicks or the eggs and put it somewhere on the ground, and when the mother comes and sees she lost her babies, she goes crazy? Did you know that not only that it's not a sin, not only that it's not cruel, it's actually a very positive mitzvah that will extend the length of your life, will give you longer life, and in this world and in the world to come. That's what the Torah says. If you give it as a part of the Constitution to the people in the United States today, what will happen to that Constitution after 5 minutes? It will be flushed in the toilet. Why? Everybody will say, come on, Judge. Come on, Mr. President. If you're crazy, we cannot rely on you in any of the other laws that you gave us. Why? What is this? I understand you tell me you should not kill. It makes sense. I would write the same thing. You should not steal. I understand. Even gossip, speaking bad about people, I understand. Makes sense. What is this? Another mitzvah. Take a lulav and an etrog, build a sukkah. You must be on the street for 7 days. You go like this. Come on, leave us alone. Why am I telling it? I'm saying it as a joke, but it's very clever. 80% of the commandments of God that He gave to the Jews in the Torah are not only that are not logical in human logic, they actually the opposite. They're completely against human logic. Every other religion and codes that you're going to read, everything makes sense. Why? People like me and you, fakers, wrote it. And when a faker come and give a book and he claims that he's a prophet and God gave him the book, he makes sure that the book is A, it's logical, B, that it's not too difficult to practice, because he doesn't want the people to rebel against him, and C, that he will protect his position as the leader of this group, because that's the only reason why he faked religion. When Moshe brought the Torah, A, he did not make it an easy book, he made it very difficult religion. B, he wrote derogatory comments about himself, stuttering, has all kinds of problems, his children are not so successful. He wrote that God was very angry at him and he punished him. Many bad things he wrote about himself. C, 80% of the laws are so difficult to understand that the chance that the people will accept this book and willing to listen to you, it's below 0. Why did he do such a thing? You know why? Because he did not write it. He only wrote what God told him. What is that my choice? God told me take a lulav, sit in the sukkah, clean the house, get rid of the mother in the nest, do all these weird things. I'm only obeying God's words. What? I just wrote it down. If you're still not sure, I will show you what I mean. There is a mitzvah which calls a red cow. What's so special about a red cow? Red cow, when the time the third Bet HaMikdash will be built, the third temple will be built, it's not going to help us at all. If tomorrow the Jews is going to destroy the mosque in Jerusalem and finally announce that the salvation arrived, Mashiach is on the way, and even Mashiach is coming from the Olive Mountain in Jerusalem, as the prophecy told us, and they build the Bet HaMikdash, and all the Kohanim, all the Bukharians and the Persian will be probably 90% of the Kohanim, because these two groups have many, many Kohanim, you know. For instance, Georgians, you don't have even one Kohen. Check all the Georgians that you know, all the Georgian Jews, they don't have any Kohen. Persians and Bukharians, 20-30% of the community, Kohanim and Levim, which means they are descendants of Moshe and Aaron. That's why they're such special people. Why? Why? Because they come from the best family in the Jewish nation. They are the direct grandchildren of the greatest person ever lived. The two greatest, Moshe and Aaron, two brothers. But it's not going to help us. So all the Persians and the Bukharians will stand in Bet HaMikdash, get ready to go in and start with the shish kebab, slaughtering the animals, but they're not going to be able to go in. Why? We need one more thing. What is it? Red cow. What's red cow? A cow that is born in the world one day, and it's completely red, no black hair, from A to Z red. Not only that, you should know that in history we had only 9 red cows until today. Only 9 in the entire history. Registered 9 red cows. The Torah told us that we're only going to have 10 red cows maximum. 10. So we know we should have one more. If we do not have it now, what's Mashiach going to help us? What's Bet HaMikdash going to help us? We're not going to be able to enter. Why are we not going to be able to enter? Because we're impure. There are many different kinds of impurities in the Torah. For instance, a woman in a state of her period, before she goes into the mikveh, she stays impure for the rest of her life. Even if the period is over, even if she became 60 years old, she's still impure until one day she's going to go into spring water and purify. We're not talking about dirt. There's nothing to do with physical dirt. We're talking spirituality. It's an impurity that must leave the body, and it can only leave the body if she goes into natural live water, inside a pit, or a hole, or a lake, or... I don't want to go into all the laws, but just to give you an idea, this is one impurity. There are many other impurities. A purity that you touch a dead animal. There's all kinds of impurities. One of the worst impurity, the worst one, is touching a dead body of a Jew. Dead body of a Jew. A dead body of a Jew, for instance, if there is Kohanim in this house, if they go into a hospital to visit someone, a friend is not feeling well, is in a hospital for 2-3 days. When the Kohen went inside the building of the hospital, if one person died, or if there's a dead body in that hospital that day, this Kohen automatically became impure. Why? The impurity of a dead body covers the entire area. It's like everything that is covered, the entire house, God forbid, is becoming impure. So if there was a dead body in a house, the Kohanim are not allowed to go into the house. Everybody become impure, not only the Kohanim. But the difference is that I cannot go into Bet HaMikdash to serve because I'm not a Kohen. A Kohen has a special mission. He's a chosen person, so he has to go into the Bet HaMikdash. He has permission to go to the house of God when regular Jews cannot go in. The best part is that if there's a dead body outside, if a Kohen or a regular Jew goes around the body in a range of 6 feet, if he enters 6 feet within the body, he becomes impure. If he stays away from the body 6 feet, then he does not become impure. Now, if we are impure, how do we correct the problems? If you're impure, that's it. You cannot enter the Bet HaMikdash. How do you correct the problem? You need the ashes of the red cow. You see, this is all weird. I'm saying weird just to attract your attention. God forbid, I don't mean that the laws of God are weird. But they're weird to us. They're strange to us because we think only human logic. But this is all divine logic. We will never understand the secrets of it. We will never know. Only after we leave this physical world, we will be able to know some of the secrets of God. Well, today we have no idea why God made it. Even King Solomon wrote, this mitzvah is way above my understanding, even though I was the smartest person ever lived. So now what happened is, if we are impure, if there is a red cow, they slaughter the red cow, they burn the entire body of it, they take water from the Shiloach, it's a special spring water in Jerusalem. I don't know if you ever went on a trip in Jerusalem, there's a special path in between two walls that they dig in the old days, like 2,500 years ago, and the water goes into Jerusalem. You know that? You go with candles inside. You ever go on a trip there? It's a special, exciting trip. You take water from this lake over there, it's called the Shiloach. You mix it with the ashes of the red cow, and there's a Kohen that takes from this water, mixed with these ashes of the red cow, and it's splashed over the impure Kohanim. Once the water touched the body of the impure Kohen, he became pure. After he became pure, he is allowed to go into Bet HaMikdash. Now this is just an introduction to this mitzvah. Now comes the proof. Pay attention carefully. The Gemara asks a question, the Torah, the oral Torah. Are we allowed to buy a red cow from a goy? Can we rely on him? What does it have to do with rely or not? So here comes the answer. The answer is, a red cow, the Torah say, it cannot be just a red cow. It needs another condition. Nobody ever put any weight on the back of the red cow. If you sat on it 1 second, it's gone. You missed it. Now you need to wait another who knows how many hundreds of years until you have another red cow. So if there is a red cow, you got to put somebody to watch over it, that nobody will touch it and nobody will sit on it. You got to lock it, you have to put guards. Why? Because if one person will jump on it or even lean on it, that's it, we lost it. The Torah say, Asher lo ala alei ha'ol. No weight was put on the back of this cow. Now, if a goy got lucky and he had a red cow in Texas, he wake up in the morning, he sees his cow, he has a red cow in his house. Now he just became not a billionaire, a trillionaire. Why? Because he's going to come to the Jews and say, I have what you need. The Jews will pay him any price he wants. He's going to say $10 trillion. What can we do? We've got to collect it. We're going to begin to collect. All the rabbis all over the world will come to all the people, excuse me, give us 100, 200. We got to pay this guy. We need a red cow. All our salvation depend on it. So now, something like this really happened, close to 2,000 years ago. The Gemara says, are you allowed to buy a cow from a goy? Because maybe when the cow was born, the goy didn't know, and he sat on a cow, or he put a bag of flour on the back of the cow, and now he wants to sell you the cow, but the cow is not good. Here. So, I'm going to read directly from my computer. It's right in front of you. The Jews needed a red cow, and they found it by a goy. They told him, please sell us the cow. He said, no problem. 4 coins of gold, and you can have it. By the time they went to get the 4 coins, the goy realized that the Jews did not argue with him for the price. Maybe I gave them a cheap price. He went to his neighbor. He asked him, excuse me, what do you think this goy, the good Jews came only to me, they want to buy this red cow? What's so special about it? So, oh, you don't know? You got lucky. The Jews will give you any amount of money for this cow. So really? Yeah, try. They came with a 4. He said, I'm sorry, I made a mistake in the price. I want 5. They said, okay, here is 5. He said, no, 10. They said, no problem, 10. He said, no, I meant 20. Through the conversation, it already went up to 1,000. From 4 to 1,000. I said, okay, 1,000, we have a deal. You're not going to change your mind? No. We're going to get the money. The Jews went to get the money. They said, tomorrow morning we'll be here with a sack full of coins of gold. Make sure the cow is ready for us. They came in the morning. This guy, he said, Muad, I'm going to give the Jews what they want. Come on. I'm going to trick them. His neighbor already told him the rules apply to this cow. He took a bag of flour. He put it on the back of the cow all night. He said, when the Jews come in the morning, I'll remove the bag. I'll give them a garbage cow. It's nothing. I'll take them $1 billion and I'm ready. The Jews show up in the morning with the sack, and the guy says, I'm going to get you the cow. He brought the cow out, and the rabbis came. One rabbi came to the face of the cow, holding it like this, looking in the eyes of the cow. The other rabbi came with like a magnifying glass into the neck. It goes like this through the neck. And the rabbi say, this is what the Gemara say, if you want to make fun, go make fun at your mother, you idiot. And they left, no deal. So the guy said, what is this? Whoa, we made a deal. No, you're tricking us. This cow yesterday was good, today it's worthless. So the Gemara say, when the guy saw that, he started to scream, bless the one who chose this nation to be his children. He went inside his house, he took a rope around his neck, and he hung himself, and he committed suicide. So the Gemara say, may all the haters of Israel will end like this. Why I'm telling you this story? I came to teach you biology, cows, this. The answer is, pay attention very carefully. Don't ever forget what you're going to see now, because that's it. It leaves no doubt that we have a divine book in our hand. How did the rabbis know that the guy tricked them? They had a dream that he put a bag on the cow. They checked two things. When God gave us the Torah in Mount Sinai and He told us the secret of this red cow, He told us two more secrets. There are two signs that this cow is good or not. If you put weight in the back of the red cow, two things will happen to it. The eyes of the cow that was perfectly fine become cross-eyed. And the second problem is, there's hairs in the neck of the cow, two hairs. Two! In the neck of the cow. As long as you did not put any weight on the back of this cow, these hairs are standing still. Once you leaned on it, or sat on it, or put any weight on that, those two hairs are falling down. And as much as you're going to try to bring it back up, nothing will help you. Those two hairs will never stand still. Never. And when the rabbis came, they looked for those two hairs, and they saw two hairs are falling, and the eyes became cross-eyed. They knew that overnight he put some weight on a cow. From $1 billion, the price went down to a regular $5,000, whatever a cow cost. Now my question to you, I want to test your intelligence. If there are people in this room that ever thought, or they know other people that speak like that rabbis made up the Torah, or it's a history book, or it's a scientific book, whatever you want to call it. Do you know any human being that would write in a book 3,300 years ago that one day there will be a red cow, and you make sure you have to slaughter it, and all these weird laws, which already doesn't make sense, what person would make such laws? But that's besides the point. And then he's going to write two secrets about the cow. That if you put the weight on the back of it, no other cow has any problem. You put weight as much as you want, the eyes will never be cross-eyed. And there's no hair in the other cows. There is only, if one day there's going to be a red cow, there are two secrets about it. Those two hairs in the neck and the eyes. First, a regular cow has more than millions of hairs. Millions. It's big, it's huge cow. See how many hairs the cow has? Cannot even count. And what person would know to guess that there's something special about this cow that has two hairs in the neck? Where would he get this information from? Unless if it's from the creator of the cow. How would he know what to imagine? How would he know what to guess? How would he know where to look for? There's no way to know. How? Just out of nowhere, you had like a prophecy that this cow from billions of hair has only two hairs in the neck? There's no way to know. And the eyes, what do you see? Very simple. The writer of the Torah is the one who created everything. But you know what's the best part about it? That if you turn the page, right next to it, it says that we have to keep Shabbat. We have to observe Shabbat. That's why I always use in my lecture scientific proof. I have hundreds of scientific proofs, one after the other from now until next year. In lectures, you have 1 or 2 hours to speak. You can show 4 or 5, that's it. More. In seminars, we show much more. But what's the point of showing all these proofs? For anyone who may still have doubts that is this the word of God or not, no person can write such a thing. And right next to it, it says you got to put tefillin every day, never to miss a day. I would like to switch into what Mitch asked me to speak about, more into the subject of Shabbat. Now I know that when you ask people, a Jew, what Shabbat is, unfortunately, 90 or 95% of the Jews don't even know what Shabbat is. Who can raise his hand over here and tell me if he knows what Shabbat means? What Shabbat means? A day of rest? Why we got the Sabbath, Shabbat from God? Why the Jews received this mitzvah of Shabbat? Who knows? Nobody knows? What do you say?
Because God took 6 days to create the world, and on the 7th day He rested.
True, but what does it have to do with us?
We worked for 6 days.
He worked for really the truth is he never worked even for a second, but he separated, he created the world in less than a billionth of a second, and he put the things in the right order in 6 different days to show you which things are more important than the other. And the last things that were created are more important than the previous ones. And the last thing that was created in this world is what? Man. Plus there are other things that was created moments before Shabbat started, after we were created, but that was created for us. You can read it about, in the Gemara speaks about it. 10 things were created just moments before Shabbat started. Ben Hashmashot. Between the beginning of the sunset to the end of it. My question to you is, what was the purpose of giving us the Shabbat? What's so special about the Shabbat that everywhere you go the rabbi says, Shomer Shabbos, yes or no? That's always the most common question. Is this Jew Shomer Shabbos or not? They don't ask, is he giving tzedakah or not? Is he killing or not? Is it, most likely the question that you're always going to ask, Shomer Shabbos or not? Can we buy from this business? What's the first question? Shomer Shabbos or not? Is this person, we want to call him to be a Chazan? What's the first question? Is he Shomer Shabbos or not? It's always the first question. Why it's so important? What's this mitzvah? Now, who can raise his hand and give me a 1-minute answer from A to Z what Shabbat means? My question to you is, since nobody is raising his hand, how is it possible? Yeah, no, maybe you save the situation.
It's the realization of God's creator. If you're gonna, you could say to yourself that you're gonna stop with everything, that the world still runs without you being involved in it, and that's the ultimate relief of saying, you know what, God is the creator of the world.
Very nice. That's a part of the answer. There's more into it. How does God call Shabbat in His Torah? He has a special description to this mitzvah of Shabbat, which is different than all the other mitzvot. How does God call Shabbat? He gives the Shabbat a name that He did not give to any other mitzvah, actually to only 3 mitzvot. There are 3 unique mitzvot from the 613 that God added a title to those mitzvot. What was the title? Who knows? Briti, you're close to it. Kodesh is all the mitzvot. Who knows what the word Kadosh means? Holy. What's holy means? Huh? Separate. Very good. Separate. Holy means special. Separate from the rest. How God speaks to the Jews, I'm making you holy today. By giving you this Torah, I make you like me. I'm holy, and this Torah will make you also holy. What's holy? The same way no one here is like me. No one in this world will be like you. You're going to be special. And of course, it's up to the way we're going to behave. If we keep what He told us, it makes us special. If we don't keep, we become like everybody else. I want to show you certain things about Shabbat. Now, before I show you, 5 minutes for what? For food? For break? Can it be 10? Can I steal 5? Okay, now that's the 10 you gave me. Now, on top of the 10, can I steal another 5? All right, we'll keep it 10. Okay. Let's be serious. First of all, I would like to ask you a favor. Can I ask you a favor? All right. I do not want, and I'm really like almost begging you, I do not want anybody here after the lecture to make any comments against what I'm showing you. Why? Because whatever I'm going to show you now, it's nothing from me. Not my opinion. I did not make it up. I do not even mix a bit of my opinion. As you're going to see in a minute, I'm only going to show you parts from the Torah to read in Hebrew and in English. Don't ever say, wow, I finally found out what Shabbat is. what God's thinking about me because I'm not Shomer Shabbos. If you're not interested to know the truth, you can leave. You can go to the food right now. I'm not forcing anyone to listen. But in my opinion, it would be very foolish not to know after so many years that you live here what God wants from you every Shabbat. What He expects you to do. What's going to be the reward of keeping Shabbat. If you would know what reward a person that doesn't keep Shabbat is losing, he's going to go nuts when he see how much he's losing because of ignorance. But one thing I don't want anyone to say, wow, it was scary. I mean, I wish I wouldn't know. Because if you're afraid from the truth, close your ears. No problem. But please, don't go tomorrow and say, wow, it was too strict because I'm not doing anything. Don't blame me. Blame yourself or blame the Torah. Blame God. Tell God, I'm not happy from what you told me. But don't say, oh, the Rabbi came and he told me this and I disagree with this because I'm only reading from the Torah. Now, as I'm reading in front of you, I'm going to translate right away. And Moshe gathered the nation of Israel and he told them, you saw everything God did in front of your eyes in the land of Egypt to Pharaoh and his servant and his whole country. And now, if you are going to listen to me and keep my covenant, you're going to become a special nation from all the other nations because I am the master of the land. The magics that your eyes saw, the signs. I walked you in the desert 40 years. Your clothes did not get ripped. Your shoes stay complete on your feet. You did not eat bread and you did not drink wine and alcohol. I taught you that you should know that I am your God. You have to keep my covenant. And you should do it because it's going to make you wiser and everything else you're going to do. You are standing here today in front of your God. Your leaders, your tribes, your older people, your police, everyone from Israel, your children, your wives, all the others that among you, from those who chop trees and those who brings water from the lake. Today I'm making a covenant with you that I should make you to a nation and God will be your master as He promised you and He swore to your father Abraham, Yitzchak and Yaakov. And not only with those who are present here are making this covenant. Everyone who is here and everyone who still is not here, which means is going to be born in the future, is obligated to keep this covenant. So far everything is clear? Yeah.
I just have a question. Doesn't it say that all of us were there?
Oh, every soul of every Jew was there.
Yeah.
But this Torah means all the bodies, not only all the souls. You are here now, but in a previous life you were someone else. But it's the same soul. But the way a person is judged is in his previous life with his body. In a different life he was with a different body. Now, and I'm skipping directly to the sentences that relates to Shabbat. Heaven and earth stopped and all their armies. And God stopped in the seventh day everything He created. And He struck in the seventh day from everything He did. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it. Because He struck from everything He created in that day. Remember the day of Shabbat to make it holy. What's the problem over there? Huh? The baby? Alright. 6 days. 6 days you're allowed to walk and to do everything you have to do, all your work. And the seventh day, it's Shabbat to your God. Do not do any work. You, your son, your daughter, your slaves, your servants, your animals, and all the residents that lives in your land. 6 days God made heaven and earth, the oceans and everything in it. And He struck in the 7th day. Therefore He blessed the 7th day and made it holy. And God told Moshe to say, go and speak to the nation of Israel to tell them, keep my Shabbat, because here is the word I was referring to, because it's oath. Oath. What's an oath? A sign, an agreement, a covenant. It's a sign between me. Who is me? God. And you. Who is you? The nation of Israel. It's a sign between me and you for eternity, for generations, to know, not to believe, to know that I am the God who made you holy. You should keep Shabbat because it's holy to you. Someone who will not keep Shabbat will be executed, because if he does any work, I'm going to cut that soul completely from this nation. The soul, not the body. After the person died. Nothing is worse punishment than this in the entire Torah. That a person finished his life and God say, you're out of my nation for eternity. You're not in. I'm not letting you in. That's right here. Don't say I say it. I'm just reading it. Here is the source. Chapter 31. I think every Jew must know it. It's not fair to live here 7 years and then scream why the rabbi was right next to me and he never told me this. If I only knew it, I had an opportunity to change, to learn what Shabbat is. It's an opportunity. If you're wise, you should appreciate it very much that you have this opportunity. 6 days you should do everything you have to do, all your work. And in the 7th day, it's a special day, holy to your God. Everyone who does things, melacha means one of the 39 things that the Torah say not to do. We'll talk about it later. What are the 39 things that are not permitted? Someone who does one of those 39s in the 7th day, mot yumat. Why it says twice? Mot in this world and yumat in the world to come. And the nation of Israel kept the Shabbat to do the Sabbath for eternity. An eternal covenant. An eternal covenant between me and the nation of Israel. It's a sign forever. Because I made the world in 6 days, heaven and earth, and in the 7th day I strike. So this is, it says in 12 different places in the Torah what Shabbat means, more than any other mitzvah. No other sin in the Torah has worse punishment than this. Based on the punishments in the Torah, we understand the level of the sin. For instance, if a person eats bread without washing his hands, he's not going to be executed. He has a sin, God punish him in limited punishment, it's over. If a person stole $10 million, big thing. In America, he will sit 20 years in federal prison. If a person, he robbed a bank with a gun. He came with a gun to everyone was on the floor, millions of police, cars, and he robbed the bank. And he got caught. What's the punishment according to the Torah? You stole $1 million, you must pay $2 million. You stole $1,000, think about it. You went to rob a bank with a gun to the head of the guy, the teller. He gave you $1,000 that he had. The police caught you. You made a whole scene. What's according to the Torah your punishment is? You got to pay the $1,000 that you stole back and an extra $1,000 and your punishment is over. That's all. You lost $1,000. And it's all over. According to the Torah, you clean. If you pay them back $2,000, you finished. But Shabbat, the punishment is a different league. Nothing to compare. Yeah. If you kill someone, it's also execution.
No, but which one is worse?
Shabbat.
Shabbat is worse than
There are 4 kinds of execution in the Torah. Stoning is the worst. Burning is the second worst. Sword is the third. And choking is the last one. Choking. So there are 4 methods of execution. What's the worst execution? Stoning. Which punishment, which sins in the Torah brought us stoning? One of them is Shabbat, homosexuality, sleeping with a married woman, engaged woman, but not engagement like today, that she had a chuppah, but she still did not have relation with her husband. Let's see, an hour before they move in, she went and cheated on her husband, so her and the guy who she cheated with also get stoned. There are a list of things that are considered the worst in the Torah. You have to know one thing. Some of the sins that in our eyes is the most despicable thing. I'll give you an example. If one of you will have your son bringing a friend to play in a house on a Sunday, and then a minute later you find out that this is the son of the biggest murderer in the world. A person that killed, his father is in jail, he killed 20 guys with cold-blooded murder. And this is the son of that murderer, and your son brought him to play on Sunday. How would you react? You will do everything you can to get rid of that boy. In a nice way. Of course, you're not going to tell him, hey, your father is a murderer, we don't want you here. You're going to say, oh, my son doesn't feel good. We'll call you next Sunday. Right? And I can't blame you. It's normal. But if it's a son of a Mechal Shabbos that drives with his cigar, with his convertible on Shabbat, oh, how are you, darling? Why are you not coming more often? This is human logic. Why? When we were born and raised, what did people tell us? Be careful not to be murderer, murder, this is a killer. Nobody ever told us, be careful from him, he's Mechal Shabbos. It's the worst. God thinking about him the worst. Nobody ever told us that. So we were born and raised in an environment that if a person is a murderer or a thief, even a thief, stay away from him, he's a thief. Because this is the way we were educated. What happened to the Shabbat? In the last 2 generations, the Jews just neglected Shabbat. Because it's not so convenient to their plan. They have businesses, they want to open on Shabbat, they have this, they have that, they want to drive, they want to go with the family, sit, make shish kebab together. So they don't want to change their plans and their convenience. So what happened? Over the last 2 generations, they took Shabbat and put it in a toilet and flushed 100 times to forget about it completely, until 2 generations later, nobody knows about it. Kids grow up, and nobody ever dream until they begin to read in my lecture or in other lectures how serious is not to keep Shabbat. I'm sure nobody here knew about this. I'm sure. Because I don't think that...
Like if we drive on Shabbat.
Yes.
Is this worse than a murderer?
You are a very clever person. You're already putting me into trouble before the food even.
No, I'm not trying to put you in trouble.
The answer is yes. Yes.
Okay, so if you go out, kill someone, and keep Shabbat,
Yes.
you're in a better place than if you...
Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately, yes. Now, I want to ask you a question. Who said it, me or my creator and your creator? If it's me, I'm crazy, I agree. If I made the law, I'm crazy. You're right. It doesn't make sense. Well, in my opinion, I agree with you. There's only one problem. I put my brain and my intelligence and my opinion aside. There is somebody with much more clever opinion and intelligence that gave me order, and he supplies me with oxygen, and he helps me to think. And he told me, your thoughts and my thoughts are not the same. Do not analyze me in human intelligence, because your way and my way are completely different. Just obey the rules that I'm telling you today in Mount Sinai, and teach your children and grandchildren forever that I should reward you for eternity. And if you're not going to listen to me, I'm going to punish you for eternity. That's all the Torah says. Now, I'm not going to run after you with a candy camera or with a gun to force you what to do. It's free choice. I only come and read parts from the Torah. Believe me, it's not convenient to me to speak about this subject. I wish the punishment for Shabbat would be $500 fine a year and it's over. Then I wouldn't be here. Why should I waste my time? Pay the $500 once a year, make shish kebab as much as you want, no problem. But how can I ignore that? Yes?
I'm not going to tell you where. But I was so upset with the rabbi that I came home and I was crying. Because if you say that, you ask in the beginning if you have anyone read the Torah from the beginning to the end, I'm sure all rabbis read Torah from beginning to the end thousands of times. They know all the
Not thousands, maybe once. Okay.
At least once.
At least once.
Understand it. They know, but I know he follows all the rules. He keeps Shabbat. He doesn't drive. He does everything.
How do you know?
Well, he's a rabbi.
You assume.
Well, but the smallest thing that has to do with human being helping each other or
Right.
being nice to each other. If you do all of that, but you don't do anything of the things that we
It's also bad. It's also bad.
Okay, so is that a better place to be, to keep Shabbat and all that? But
I got your question and I will answer you. I'm sorry that I'm stealing away from your food time, but I have a lot of experience. I know that after the food nobody will be here and I think it's an emergency. So please forgive me for keeping you hungry another 20 minutes. It's not your fault, it's your marriage, not your fault. Please forgive me, I really apologize. It's better to feed the soul before the body. But I'm answering you, I got it. I answer you. I want to tell you something. In my opinion, and could be in your opinion, someone that insults people, someone who don't have mercy on people, it's also a bad person.
or someone who doesn't even care about other people,
Okay, well,
but at the
okay.
same time...
Now you have to know one thing. The Torah has a list of restrictions. One of them is that you should not insult ever another person. You should not put down any other person. You have to be nice to every person. You have to give the benefits of the doubt to people. You have to be sincere. You have to be sensitive. There's so many obligations in the Torah. You should never steal from them. You should not cheat them. You should not even go into a store and try a suit on you knowing you don't have the money to buy it. It's also a sin from the Torah. To make the owner of the store waste his time. The Torah says, yes, because it breaks his heart. He spends an hour with you, he thinks, oh, finally after a whole day making $1,000 to save my expenses here, and the person has no intention to buy, that's called honara. It's torturing another person. Some more, some less, depend on the person. Nobody here would want other people to do the same to you, right? So there are a list of things the Torah says we should not do. Nobody in history kept all the Torah 100% without making mistakes. And probably nobody will. All the religious rabbis and religious Jews are making sins and mistakes almost every day, and maybe sometimes even every hour. But there is a weight to each sin. For instance, if you steal, it's a serious sin. But it's nothing compared to not keep Shabbat. If you insult a friend, it's a very big sin. It's nothing compared to not keeping Shabbat. If you kill the person, oh, wow, what a sin, come on. It's not reaching the level of violating the rules of Shabbat. Now, I know that it's hard for you to digest and understand it, but I'm going to try to help you to think. You have to always think one thing. I am a person and I'm limited. My parents, my teachers, wherever I grew up, did not have the real knowledge of the Torah to tell me the truth. Sometimes they did know, but their incentive was to hide the truth from me. Why? Because they don't want to change society. They don't want now in Israel that all the Jews will keep Shabbat. They want soccer, they want basketball, they want parties, they want beach. So therefore they never told us as kids in school that to be Mechalel Shabbat in the eyes of the Creator of the world is worse than other things. They never told us that. It was good for them to teach us that you should not kill because it's good for society. So they highlight that part. It was good for them to tell us you should not be violent. You should not steal. You should not. Whatever was good for them, they always told us in public schools. Whatever was not good for them, they put under the rug. Here comes someone like me. One day open up his eyes and begin to read. Here it's in front of you in English, for those who had doubts about my translation. Begins to read the truth from the direct book of God. Even though it's hard for me to digest, I put my intelligence aside because I know, who am I to know what's worse? The one who gives the Torah, he is the one who rated the sins. And based on the punishments that he's giving, we know how severe is the sin. Now, the fact that 30 years I was lied to, and I didn't know in his eyes what's worse and what's not, changed reality? No. Reality was always the same.
Another question. So the person
Yeah.
who keeps Shabbat, follows all the rules, keeps kosher, everything,
Yes.
and he is indifferent to other human beings, he never helps them, maybe he hurts them, whatever. He still gets all the credit for all of that,
But he
the
has,
fact that he doesn't...
but he loses a lot. He loses a lot from the sins he make. If he put down people, he ignore their problems. I give you an example. The Torah say, if a poor person come to you and open up his hand, help me out, I need money for my children, and you don't give him, it's a very, very big sin. Very big sin. The Torah didn't tell you how much to give him. The Torah gave you recommendation how much to give him. Of course, sometimes you yourself don't have, so how are you going to give him? But if you have, and you don't have mercy on him, everything that God does in this world is measure for measure. When you're going to need mercy, he's not going to have mercy on you because you don't have mercy on your other brothers. That's what the Torah says. However, right next to it, the Torah says, you can read inside the Torah, you don't have to believe me. If you open up your hand and give him generously, I promise I will bless you in everything you're going to do. How many of us run to the rabbis, run after them for days and weeks, standing online, running to see him because he's in town, making hundreds of phone calls, making appointments, standing an hour online, that the rabbi will give me a bracha, that I have to give him $20,000 check, that he will give me a bracha. Why? Because I don't believe in the Torah. If I believe in the Torah, why do I need to run to the rabbi? Why do I need to run for him? A poor person knock on the door. Please, I have to buy tefillin for my son for bar mitzvah. I don't have. I need $600. No problem, my friend. I'm going to buy myself clothes every day for $600. My brother doesn't have money for tefillin. I'm going to tell him, I'm sorry, I'm busy now. We're in the middle of dinner. So if I give him a check, $600, and bless him and give him a chai and some cake or something, this was something very good. But still, even though it's emotional, even though it's a great mitzvah, it's nothing compared to the covenant that God made with the Jewish people. The foundation of Judaism, rule number one, the most important one is Shabbat. Everything else comes after. If a person does not keep the law of Shabbat, he cuts with his own hand. He cuts himself out of the tree of God, the tree of the Jewish nation, the soul. You don't believe me? I read it to you. It's right in front of you. I'm showing you directly from the written Torah. I'm not making it up. Here, it's another place. I'm showing you all the sources. And Moshe gathered the nation of Israel. And he told them those are the things that God ordered us to do. 6 days you should do everything you have to. And in the 7th day it's holy. Shabbat Shabbaton to God. Someone who will violate it will be executed. Do not create any fire in all the places where you live in the 7th day. So, how many of us smoke cigarettes on Shabbat? Plenty. Light fire on Shabbat? Plenty. Turn the electric on? Plenty. And don't even dare to tell me, Rabbi, electric is not fire. Because my answer to you would be, let's make a deal. You're going to hold these light bulbs for 1 minute. If you go on fire, I'm right. If you don't go on fire, I'll take you to McDonald's and I buy you pork with cheese and give you everything you want, take you to the disco at my expense. And I burn my yarmulke and shave right now with a razor. If you don't go on fire, that means the Torah was wrong. The Torah said you should not create any fire. It did not say how. In any way. Any way. Electric, fire, energy, all kinds of ways to create fire. You're not allowed. Therefore, it's fire in a different way. They designed it that the fire will be limited and it stays like this. So what does it mean? You're allowed to do it? You have Shaon Shabbat, let the timer turn it on and off. That's what the religious people do. They have lights. They have fire on Shabbat. They have everything the non-religious have. But the timer makes it. So what's the difference? It's much easier than what people think. So you're not going to be able to drive. So what happened? Your family wants to come over for Shabbat. Baruch Hashem, between you and your neighbors, you're going to find them a place to stay. What could be better than this? You come to Monsey on Shabbat, you see, what a great feeling. Every house packed with people, brother, sister, they all sleep over, we by the neighbor. It's all one big party. You sit all Shabbat, you enjoy, no cars, no tele, none of these things. You sit, you learn Torah, you read, you sleep, you eat, you laugh, you take a walk. What can be better? You sit by your pool, whatever you have, you enjoy and get rewarded for that. In the end, it's a huge thing. Rather than drive to a theater, something that you can do anyway on Sunday, it's not such an urgent thing. It's just education. People that don't keep Shabbat 99.9% of the time because they don't know how severe is the sin. They do not know how easy it is to keep Shabbat. And they think, wow, it's going to change my whole life. I have finally a day off, a weekend, I want to go to the beach, I want to do this. No, go Sunday. Start with that. But Shabbat, you have to know, it comes before everything else. You want to belong to the nation of eternity? The Torah says that God will reward us forever. Forever. You know what's billions of years for this mitzvah. Or chas v'shalom, cut us from this inheritance forever. If a person, his father will tell him, listen, I don't like the way you behave. I wrote for you $100 million in my will. And if you're not going to change, I'm going to cut you off. What's going to happen to him? Oh, what am I going to do? Oh, he's going to, believe me, he's going to hold his father on his feet like this when he walks. Maybe he will change his mind, you know. But here, we're so generous. No problem, God. Cut me off. Send me to wherever you want. I don't want this reward. Why is it? Because nobody here believes in a Torah even 1%. That's my opinion. That's why I asked you 5 times in the beginning of the lecture, how many percent you believe in the Torah? Everybody say 100%. What are you fooling me? If you believe in the Torah 100%, and you read that God says that you're not keeping my covenant, you don't belong to my nation, I cut your soul permanently forever, you will have the guts to turn fire on Shabbat? I'm asking you, be honest. So what's the options? Either you never knew that that's what the Torah says until now, and in that case, I'm with you. Or you knew, but you just don't believe that that's the opinion of God. One of the two. Either way, it does not change reality. So just before I finish that part, here it is in English, in case you had a doubt, so you can read yourself. And I want you also to know one more thing. If a murderer came to be a witness in your wedding, he's Shomer Shabbos, but somebody got him angry, boom, he shot him in the head. And he doesn't regret it, so he deserved it. They put him in jail, 25 years. He comes out of jail, he says, I'm happy I did it. Good thing I killed him, but he keeps Shabbat. He came, he signed in Yoktubah as a witness with another Jew, another Shomer Shabbos. You are married, according to the law. Even though it's a despicable human being, the fact that he keeps Shabbat, he is not isolated from Judaism. Why? The Torah says he's a part of the nation. A person that doesn't keep Shabbat, the nicest person on earth, the greatest sergeant, the prime minister, whatever you want to say, such a polite person, such a generous charity guy, such a charismatic person, everybody's crazy about him, but he drives his car on Shabbat, even a minute, and he signed in the Ketubah, that's the law, you're not married.
How do you know who?
That's what the Torah says. I did not make up the law. The rabbi brings another religious guy with him, if you realize. How do I know? The rabbi knows. Rabbis, when they come to the marriage of non-religious people, they don't count to find somebody over there Shomer Shabbos, because unfortunately sometimes they will not be able to find one. Because Shomer Shabbos people usually don't go to weddings with all kinds of, So it's hard. So the rabbi already brings somebody with him in case there's not going to be anyone there. So the rabbi is one witness, and the other guy is the second witness. Now you have to understand, Be'emet, please, don't say it's strict, it's too much for me. Try to handle the truth. It's a lie to lie to yourself. To say, you know what, since it's so difficult, I'm against it. I don't want to hear it. Why did you call me to come, Mitch? I wish you wouldn't have my number. Why did you tell me to come? No, it's the wrong approach. God put you here, He created you, and He's expecting you to do A, B, C, D. You're not doing it. You're not doing it. You're only hurting yourself. You're not doing me a favor. Believe me, I'm not going to get checks from you by mail if you keep Shabbat. It's only a one-time event. I show you the truth, and I give you enough to have enough information to think if you want to continue your way. It's not fair. But I want to tell you something. You may ask, 80% of the Jews driving on Shabbat, and the Torah say all kinds of serious punishments, so where is the punishment? Why God is not doing what He promised? Right? Everybody, I'm sure, think about it. People think about themselves. I'm 35, I'm 40. All my life I don't keep Shabbat. I watch television, I drive the car, I smoke cigarette, I speak on the phone. I do all these things. And what happened? Not only God didn't kill me, He blessed me, I make money, I got married, I have great children, I'm healthy, I'm the happiest guy on earth. Look at me how successful I am. Tomorrow I'm going to be the president of Israel. So where is the justice? So I will finish with this and I'll let you enjoy your food if it's possible after this. I will tell you this. I'm just warning you. Don't ever come and say there was strict or this, because remember, it's not going to be fair. I only read to you what the Torah says. You have complaints. Your complaints is against God, not against me. I didn't write the Torah. He did not consult with me how severe is the punishment going to be. Believe me. I'm in your side. I'm in your side. I wish I could modify the Torah. What can I do? That's the truth. So we're not reformed. Oh, we don't like it? No problem. We want to marry man to man. It's allowed. A Jew with a Goya. It's allowed. Everything is allowed, of course. So the answer to this question is, if everyone will violate the rules of the Torah, will get punished right away, it will eliminate completely the free choice. The Torah says, I'm giving you the life and the good, the bad and the death, and you should choose the good. That I should reward you in your end. In your end. Or, in another place in the Torah, I say, the wicked people, I reward them for what they did. Everybody does some good, everyone. Even the worst person on earth does some mitzvot here and there. I reward them for what I owe them immediately. Cash to their face to get rid of them later on. It's a clear sentence in the Torah. If you don't believe, after the food, I'll show you the source. So the Torah says, the righteous people who listen to me and keep my mitzvot, I keep the reward for later on. Those who do not keep my laws, I reward them for what I owe them right away, that I should never give them later anything. It's later in the world to come, after the world to come. So now, why God does not punish right away a person that starts his car on Shabbat? He gets into the car, lights his cigarette, the phone is on, he starts the car right there, 4 or 5 different violations of Shabbat. Right by starting the car, millions of cigarettes is one starting the engine. So much fire inside. Why is driving and enjoying the beach? Well, where is the punishment? No. If every person that will start fire right away will die, after the third person will explode, everybody will stand like this on Shabbat. Moshe, bring the tea. Shabbat, I can't move. Why? I just saw 2 Jews lighting cigarettes, boom, explosion. Who wants to move? We don't want to stand like this. You don't deserve reward. If you saw 2 people that did a sin, and that was their end, of course you're not going to do it. Believe me, even Arafat will keep Shabbat. Why? How can I dare not to? Or, if you see that a person observes Shabbat, and does all the things, and right, Motzei Shabbos, he comes to the mail, $1 million check, from an uncle that he didn't know that he has. Next Shabbat, end of Shabbat, a baby boy. Next Shabbat he comes out, I don't know, they nominate him to be the mayor of Great Neck. Whatever. So he said, very good. Everything good I do, I get rewarded right away. Everything I do bad, I get punished right away. There's no more free choice. The Torah says, I'm testing you. I'm testing you if you keep my laws that I should reward you in the end. I'm torturing you. I'm strict with you. This is words in the Torah. To check what's in your heart. Are you going to be faithful to me or ungrateful? Are you going to follow my way that I should reward you? or you're going to rebel against me. It's all clear sentences in the Torah. Bezrat Hashem, so far, we take a time out. I hope you're going to stay after. I hope you're not in a rush, because I have other things to talk about, and maybe I would like to make it questions and answer after the food. Thank you so far.